Hello everyone, the topic of today's subject seminar is brucellosis and my moderator is Dr. Shyam Prakash sir. Brucellosis is a highly contagious zoonosis caused by ingestion of unsterilized milk or meat from infected animals or close contact with the secretions. And it goes by many names such as Banks disease, Crimean fever, Gibraltar fever, Mediterranean fever, rock fever or undulate fever. And is transmitted to humans by contact with fluids from infected animals such as sheep, cattle, goats, pigs, or other animals, and their derived food products. The disease is rarely, if ever, transmitted between humans. It is associated with consumption of unpasteurized milk, soft cheese made from the milk of infected animals, especially sheep and goats, which are infected with brucella, occupational exposure of laboratory workers, vegetarians, and slaughterhouse workers. Brucella is caused by intracellular bacteria of the genus Brucella, and Brucella species are classified according to their preferred animal host, and four species, each comprising several biovars, are traditionally recognized in humans. Brucella melitensis is found in goats, sheep, and camels. Brucella abortus is found in cattle. Brucella suis is found in pigs, and Brucella canis is found in dogs. Brucella species are small, gram-negative aerobic coccobacilli, lacking a capsule, flagella, endospores, or native plasmids. They are oxidase and catalase positives, and some species may require carbon dioxide enrichment for primary isolation in the laboratory. Coming to epidemiology, brucellosis occurs worldwide. Major endemic areas include countries of Mediterranean basin, Arabian Gulf, the Indian subcontinent, and parts of Mexico, Central and South America. Melitensis is a species that infects humans most frequently, and the incubation period ranges from few days to few months. The disease is manifested as fever, accompanied by a wide array of other symptoms. Methods of transmission include direct inoculation through cuts and skin abrasions from handling animal carcasses, placentas, or contact with animal secretions; direct conjunctival inoculation, inhalation of infected aerosols, ingestion of contaminated food such as raw milk, cheese made from unpasteurized milk or raw meat, and venereal transmission has been suggested, but the data are not conclusive. Coming to incubation period, acute or subacute disease follows an incubation period which can vary from 1 week to 6 or more months. In most patients for whom the time of exposure can be identified, the incubation period is between 2 to 6 weeks, and the length of incubation period may be influenced by many factors which include virulence of the infecting strain, size of the inoculum, route of infection, and resistance of the host. Coming to clinical manifestation, brucellosis presents as a febrile illness with or without localization to a particular body organs. The fever has no distinctive pattern that could differentiate it from other febrile illnesses. It usually shows diurnal variation, being normal in the morning and high in the afternoon and evening. Chills or rigors with profuse sweating associated with fever may simulate malaria, and if untreated, the fever may undulate over several weeks or more. And other manifestations include anorexia, arthralgia, fatigue, weight loss, and depression. Overall, the presentation of brucellosis often fits one of the three patterns, which include febrile illness that resembles typhoid but is less severe. And in young child, it may manifest as less severe fever and acute monoarthritis, usually involving the hip or knee. And in older men, it may present as a long-lasting fever with low backache and hip pain. Coming to complications, brucellosis can affect any organ system, among which osteoarticular disease is the most common. The forms include peripheral arthritis, sacroiliitis, and spondylitis. Sacroiliac and the spinal joints are the most commonly affected sites. Septic arthritis, septic monoarthritis may occur as a result of hematogenous spread and localization of brucella to the synovium, or via the direct extension from neighboring brucellar osteomyelitis. Large joints such as hip, knee, shoulder, sternoclavicular joints are the most commonly affected joints. We can see an image which shows destructive brucellar arthritis. The image A shows frontal film of the shoulder showing diffuse cartilage loss in the glenohumeral joint, and this film B was taken after 6 months. As we can see, there is a huge loss of cartilage. Genitourinary involvement is the second most common form of focal brucellosis, and in males, orchitis or epididyma orchitis are the most common presentation, and tubo-ovarian abscesses have been described in female. Um, Urological involvement can occur in up to 5% of cases. Manifestations include meningitis. Other less common neurological complications include encephalitis, brain abscess, radiculopathy, stroke, and intracerebral hemorrhage. Cardiovascular involvement may occur in up to 3% of the cases, and it may include endocarditis, myocarditis, pericarditis, among which endocarditis is the most common cardiovascular complication. And most cases of endocarditis are left-sided, and about two-thirds occur in previously damaged valves. And a few cases of brucella infection involving prosthetic devices such as pacemaker wires and prosthetic joints have been reported. Other intra-abdominal manifestations, although rare, include hepatic and or splenic abscesses. And other less common complications include pneumonitis, pleural effusion, empyema, abscesses involving the thyroid epithelial space or uveitis. This is a horizontal transesophageal echocardiography showing brucella aortic root abscess and aortic valve vegetation. Among patients with osteoarticular disease in brucellosis, it is very important to differentiate it from tuberculosis. Given that several antimicrobial agents used to treat brucellosis are also used to treat tuberculosis, it may influence the therapeutic approach as well as the prognosis. In septic arthritis in brucellosis, the progression is very slow, starting with small pericapsular erosions. And in the vertebrae, anterior erosions of the superior end plate are typically the first features to become evident, with eventual involvement and sclerosis of the whole vertebra. Anterior osteophyte eventually develop, but vertebral destruction or impingement on the spinal cord is rare, and these features may suggest tuberculosis. The differential diagnoses include tuberculosis, enteric fever, toxoplasmosis, HIV infection, sarcoidosis. Coming to diagnosis and investigation, since the clinical picture of brucellosis is not distinctive, the diagnosis must be made on history of potential exposure and presentation, which may be consistent with the disease. Laboratory investigations may show total counts which may be normal or low. Mild anemia may be documented, and thrombocytopenia may be seen. ESR and CRP are often normal but may be elevated. Biochemical tests are usually normal, although elevated levels of hepatic enzymes and bilirubin may be seen. CSF and body fluid analysis shows lymphocytosis, low glucose level, and elevated ADA levels. And biopsy sample of lymph node or other tissues such as liver may show non-caseating granulomas without acid-fast bacilli. A definitive diagnosis of brucellosis may be made by either of the following: culture of the organism from blood, body fluids like urine, CSF, or pleural fluid, or tissue such as bone marrow or liver biopsy, or a fourfold or greater increase in Brucella antibody titer between acute and convalescent phase serum samples obtained more than 2 weeks apart. Presumptive diagnosis of brucellosis may be made via either of the following: Brucella total antibody titer more than 1 is to 160 by standard tube agglutination test, or by detection of Brucella DNA in a clinical specimen obtained by PCR. A variety of serological methods that enable antibody detection against lipopolysaccharide or other antigens have been used for diagnosis of brucellosis, which include standard tube agglutination test, ELISA, Rose Bengal agglutination, complement fixation, and indirect Coombs test. Uh, Standard agglutination test remains the most widely used test, and it measures agglutination for IgG, IgM, and IgA. And since in most clinical setups, blood cultures or tissue cultures are not available for diagnosis of brucellosis, serology remains the main laboratory method of diagnosis. And the titers for diagnostic level include more than 1 is to 160 in non-endemic area and more than 1 is to 320 in endemic areas. And also a fourfold increase in fourfold or greater rise in the titer between acute and convalescent phase serum, uh, which are taken 2 weeks apart, may be used as diagnostic tool. However, this is clinically impractical and may delay therapy. Radiological imaging may be useful in patients with signs and symptoms of brucellosis, but it may not be able to give a definite diagnosis. And especially with patients with spine symptoms, MRI examination may be done to rule out spinal cord compromise. And other investigations include brain radiographs, radionuclide bone scintigraphy, CT scanning, and joint sonography. Coming to treatment, WHO recommends the following for adults and children older than 8 years. The tablet doxycycline 100 mg per oral twice daily, and rifampicin 600 to 900 mg per day per orally. And both drugs have to be given for 6 weeks. There is another regimen which is believed to be more effective, mainly in preventing relapse. That is doxycycline 100 mg BD for 6 weeks and streptomycin 1 gram per day IM daily for 2 to 3 weeks. So there are two major antibiotic regimen. Regimen A includes doxycycline 100 mg twice BD for 6 weeks, along with streptomycin 1 gram IM for first 14 to 21 days. And regimen B includes doxycycline 100 mg oral twice daily and rifampicin 600 to 900 mg, that is 15 milligram per kg orally, once daily for 6 weeks. For patients with neurobrucellosis, the optimal approach to treatment is uncertain, and the data are limited to retrospective and observational studies. For adults, the treatment favored is ceftriaxone 2 gram IVBD for first 4 to 6 weeks, plus rifampicin 600 to 900 mg orally, once daily for at least 12 weeks, and doxycycline 100 mg orally twice daily for at least 12 weeks. The total duration of the treatment is at least 3 months and may vary according to individual patient and according to the signs and clinical symptoms. Repeat radiological imaging may be required, and also treatment is continued until cerebrospinal fluid parameters have returned to normal. And among patients with brucellar spondylosis, they appear to respond better to doxycycline, streptomycin, or a three-drug regimen which include doxycycline, rifampicin, and streptomycin, or doxycycline, rifampicin, and gentamicin than to doxycycline and rifampin alone. And among patients with endocarditis, antimicrobial therapy alone may be attempted to in the absence of heart failure, valvular destruction, abscess, or prosthetic wall. And among children and adults more than 8 years, triple combination therapy is usually favored. And the drugs include doxycycline 100 mg twice daily for at least 12 weeks, and rifampicin 600 to 900 mg once daily for at least 12 weeks, and either streptomycin 1 gram intramuscularly or intravenously once daily for first 4 weeks, or a gentamicin 5 mg per kg per day intramuscularly or intravenously for the first 4 weeks. Aminoglycosides is usually given for 2 to 4 weeks to decrease the toxicity, and the therapy is usually given for a minimum of 12 weeks, and the duration of the therapy is often extended to 4 to 6 months. And the duration of therapy should be tailored to individual patient circumstances, including clinical assessment and follow-up through the echo. Among patients with brucellosis, indications for surgery include endocarditis, where valve replacement or valve debridement is required, drainage or excision of abscesses, especially those that have not responded to antimicrobials, removal of infected foreign bodies, example pacemakers, wires, or prosthetic joint, resection of mycotic aneurysms, procurement of tissue for diagnostic purpose, and chronic hepatosplenic suppurative brucellosis may require surgery in addition to antibiotics to achieve cure. Relapse usually occurs within the first 6 months following completion of treatment, and but may also occur up to 12 months later. And relapse of symptoms should be promptly assessed for focal lesions, especially hepatosplenic abscesses. And most relapses can be treated successfully with a repeat course of standard regimen. Should resistant or a second or third relapse occur, an alternative regimen should be devised. Coming to treatment of brucellosis in pregnant women, pregnant women who are less than 36 weeks of gestation are treated with rifampicin plus cotrimoxazole both for 6 weeks, and for pregnant women who are more than 36 weeks of gestation, rifampin monotherapy is given until their delivery, as cotrimoxazole is associated with the neonatal kernicterus in the last month of pregnancy. And after the delivery, we continue combination therapy as in non-pregnant adults for a total duration of 6 weeks. These are my references: Harrison's Principles of Internal Medicine, Manson's Tropical Diseases, and Up to Date. Thank you.